Have you ever woken up one day and realized you don't recognize yourself anymore? That your laughter feels forced, your confidence vanished, and your mind is filled with someone else's voice, criticizing, doubting, and controlling you. That's what it feels like after surviving a narcissist. You don't just walk away from a toxic person. You walk away from the version of yourself they built, the one who constantly apologized, over-explained, and tried too hard to be enough. But here's the truth, you can heal. It's not easy, but it's possible. And in this episode, we'll walk together through that journey, from broken to whole again. When you leave a narcissist, you expect relief. But what you often feel first is confusion. Your mind keeps replaying moments, conversations, apologies. You ask yourself, was it really that bad, or maybe I overreacted? That's trauma bonding. Narcissists condition you to crave their approval, even after they're gone. You might also experience withdrawal, yes, emotional withdrawal, because your brain has been wired around the cycles of chaos and calm. The drama was painful, but it was predictable. Peace feels unfamiliar. There's also guilt. You feel guilty for leaving. Guilty for not leaving sooner. Guilty for still caring. That guilt is a trap, and it's part of their legacy. You were trained to carry the blame. But now, that weight isn't yours anymore. And then there's loneliness. Because people outside of that experience don't always understand. They might say, just move on, without realizing how deep the wounds go. If you're feeling that emptiness right now, please know, it's not weakness. It's your soul detoxing from emotional poison. Healing after a narcissist doesn't happen overnight. It's not a moment, it's a long, quiet rebirth. You wake up one morning and realize the silence feels different. It's no longer heavy. It's not loneliness, it's peace. For so long, you lived on alert, waiting for the next outburst, the next criticism, the next cold silence. Now, the world feels still, and stillness feels almost unfamiliar. That's where rebuilding begins. At first, it feels strange. You might not even know who you are without them. Your thoughts used to orbit around them, their needs, their moods, their expectations. You built your days around their storms. Now, with them gone, there's this space, wide, empty, and quiet, and you're not sure what to fill it with. But here's the truth. That space is not emptiness. It's freedom. The first step of rebuilding is self-compassion. You've been through a psychological war, and you survived. So talk to yourself as you would to a friend who's been hurt. You don't heal by punishing yourself for staying too long, or for loving too deeply. You heal by saying, I understand why I did. I forgive myself for not knowing better. Because here's something most survivors don't realize. You didn't fall for their charm because you were weak. You fell because you were kind. You trusted, you cared, you hoped. And there's no shame in that. The shame belongs to the one who used your goodness against you. Next comes rediscovering who you are. The narcissist convinced you that your needs were inconvenient, your dreams unrealistic, your feelings dramatic. They painted you as too much, until you shrank yourself just to fit inside their comfort zone. Now, you get to grow again. Start small, don't rush to reinvent your life. Rebuilding isn't about grand gestures. It's about tiny acts of self-return. Play the song they used to mock. Wear the outfit they said didn't suit you. Call that friend they didn't want you to see. Go for a walk without explaining where you're going. Each act says quietly but powerfully, I belong to myself again. Then, reconnect with your body. Because trauma doesn't just live in your mind, it lives in your muscles, your breath, your heartbeat. You might notice that even in peace, your body still flinches at certain tones, sounds, or words. That's normal. Your body learned to anticipate danger. Now, you're teaching it safety again. Take slow walks. Stretch. Eat gently. Sleep. Cry. Rest without guilt. Healing is not laziness, it's repair. You might not realize it, but your body has been protecting you for years. Now, it deserves your love. Then comes the hardest part, boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They're doors with locks, keys, and your permission. After narcissistic abuse, setting them feels unnatural, even selfish. Because you were conditioned to believe that your comfort doesn't matter. That saying, no, makes you unkind. But let me tell you this, No is one of the most sacred words you'll ever speak. Every time you say no to chaos, you say yes to peace. Every time you say no to manipulation, you say yes to self-respect. Boundaries aren't about keeping others out, they're about keeping yourself safe inside. You may lose people when you set them. That's okay. Healthy people will adjust. Toxic people will leave. Let them. That's not your loss, that's your liberation. And yes, sometimes, even after the narcissist is gone, their voice still lingers. You'll catch yourself hearing their tone in your mind. You're too sensitive. You'll never make it without me. But here's what's beautiful, that voice will fade the more you speak kindly to yourself. Replace their voice with your own. When you hear, "You're not enough," answer it with, "I am enough, and I'm growing stronger every day." Seek support. You're not meant to heal in silence. Find a friend who listens without judgment, or a support group that understands the words you can't yet say. Healing is easier when you hear someone else whisper, "Me too." It reminds you that you're not broken, you are human. Some survivors find strength in therapy. Others in journaling, art, faith, or helping others. There's no one right path, there's only your path. The one where your steps may be slow, but they're steady, and they're yours. And finally, forgive yourself. Not them, yourself. Forgive the version of you that stayed, that begged, that believed. Forgive the version that tried to fix what she didn't break. You don't owe anyone perfection. You owe yourself compassion, because the truth is, you didn't lose yourself in that relationship. You were buried under pain, and now, you're unearthing who you've always been. Every act of kindness to yourself is a homecoming. Every quiet night you spend healing instead of apologizing is a victory. Every breath that feels peaceful is proof that you're making it through. You're not rebuilding a broken person. You're meeting the strongest version of yourself for the first time. There's a moment in every survivor's journey when the fog starts to lift. At first, it's subtle, you start sleeping a bit better. You breathe without your chest feeling heavy. You smile, maybe for the first time in months, and realize it's real. It's yours. That's the quiet beginning of reclaiming your power. After spending so long under someone else's shadow, power doesn't come back all at once. It comes in whispers, in small acts of courage that tell your brain, "I'm safe now." It starts when you stop explaining yourself to people who don't deserve your story. It starts when you no longer apologize for having needs. It starts when you speak, and your voice doesn't tremble, even if your hands still do. For so long, the narcissist made you believe that your worth depended on them, their approval, their mood, their attention. You walked on eggshells, waiting for their validation like oxygen. Now, you're learning to breathe without permission. This is the stage where you begin to rebuild self-trust. It might sound simple, but for survivors, trusting yourself again is revolutionary. You spent so much time doubting your feelings, questioning your memories, silencing your instincts. Now, every time you make a decision, no matter how small, you're rewriting that old script. When you say, "I don't want to go," and you honor that. When you say, "I need rest," and you actually rest. When you say, "I deserve better," and you mean it. Those are sacred victories. Reclaiming your power is also about reframing your story. It's easy to define yourself by what happened to you, the person who was hurt, manipulated, gaslit. But you are not what happened. You are what you chose to become afterward. You can start by changing the language you use with yourself. Instead of saying, "I lost years to that relationship," say, "I learned lessons that will protect me for life." Instead of saying, "They broke me," say, "They showed me where I needed to heal." Your power lies in the story you tell yourself when no one else is listening. And maybe, one day, you'll realize that the things they tried to take from you, your empathy, your kindness, your capacity to love, were never weaknesses. They were your superpowers all along. The narcissist targeted them because they lacked them. Now, you get to reclaim them, but this time, you'll protect them with boundaries. You'll learn that forgiveness isn't about excusing what they did. It's about releasing the control it still has over you. Forgiveness is saying, "I refuse to carry this pain one day longer." You might not be ready today. That's okay. Healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel unstoppable, other days, you'll still check your phone or hear their voice echo in your mind. That doesn't mean you're going backward. It means your body is still remembering and unlearning. Keep showing up for yourself. That's what power looks like now. You might find joy again in unexpected ways: music, journaling, a morning walk where you feel sunlight on your skin and think, "I'm still here." You might start helping others who are walking the same path you once did. That's the beauty of healing. The moment you start using your pain to light the way for someone else, you realize you're no longer in the dark. And maybe, one day, you'll meet someone who listens without judging, loves without conditions, respects without demanding. And in that moment, you'll see how far you've come. Because the most powerful revenge against a narcissist isn't anger, it's peace. It's walking away and never looking back. It's becoming the version of yourself they tried to destroy. So, if you're listening to this right now, wondering when you'll finally feel normal again, remember, your healing doesn't need to look perfect. Every boundary, every no, every quiet evening where you choose peace over chaos, that's victory. Reclaiming your power isn't a single act. It's a daily decision, and with every sunrise, you get another chance to choose yourself again. If you're still healing, take this as a sign. You are not broken. You are rebuilding, and every step, every tear, every boundary is proof that you're coming home to yourself again. You don't have to chase love that hurts. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone who refuses to see it. You are enough, even on your quietest days, even when no one's watching. Now breathe, and remember, this is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your return to peace, to power, to yourself. This is your time to rise again.